I was in Louisville, Kentucky, looking out over 44 federal probation officers. I'd been hired to help this team build empathy with the offenders that they work with, people who've been in jail for 20 years, but were now on probation. They were looking up at me like, who the hell is this kid? I was 27 years old, an artist from California, and although I had done this process many times before, never in a business environment. This was my first client as an entrepreneur. They were walking into the room and seeing these art supplies laid out on the table and smirking at each other, eyebrows raised, and just sitting reluctantly in their seats with their arms crossed, looking up at me. I was terrified. I was thinking to myself, Adam, please don't bomb this. About halfway through, I asked 6 of the officers to step up onto the table. And I said, strike a pose with your body around what you think it feels like to be incarcerated. There was a lot of uncomfortable laughter, some sarcastic remarks, but slowly, a few of them began to step up onto the table and move their bodies into these striking and unsettling poses. I asked the rest of the officers to look at these figures on the table and start to draw using the art supplies, watercolors and colored pencils. I cranked the music, and the atmosphere in the room started to shift. They were starting to feel what might it really be like to be in jail. They were stepping into the shoes of their clients. After that, the tone of their conversations changed. They started opening up to each other and being more real about the challenges that they face on a day-to-day. They started hugging each other, and towards the end, I was surprised to see tears. Their chief of staff came up to me, and she said, I have never seen my team so vulnerable and open to sharing their stories. We have to do this across other districts around the country. And in that moment, I knew 2 things. One, I was pretty sure I did not want to go on tour with the federal probation office. And 2, what I had discovered here was far more powerful than I realized. And if I could do this in Louisville, Kentucky, with federal probation officers, I could do it anywhere. So people have a hard time describing what I do. They think of me as the guy who comes into organizations, does something with art supplies, plays cool music, and then people somehow connect. After I did that first gig in Louisville, I continued to develop my method, and it's grown into an international business. We fuse art and music and facilitated conversations as a way to help people break through their social and creative walls. And we've done 300 events now in 12 countries. So whether we're in Hanoi, Vietnam, or Bangalore, India, working with social entrepreneurs, HR leaders, probation officers, or even with my own family around the dinner table, the same things happen. People open up, and deep connection happens. So how do we create environments where people can build relationships quickly and feel safe to take risks? Here's my recipe. First ingredient, harness the arts to unlock deeper connection. People often they've decided already when they walk into a room what they're going to share and what they're not going to share. But when we use the arts, we can pull people out of these patterns without them even realizing it. When I asked these probation officers to strike poses with their body and draw on the table, they were revealing a new side of themselves. The whole person was coming through. And I was able to use these art forms to do this. Art is accessible as a tool for everyone. Second ingredient, use music with intention. When people walk into a room and I'm playing a remix of an old Motown song, I can almost guarantee as they walk in, they're going to be bobbing their heads and moving to the music. When I play West African blues, I can create an atmosphere that's more reflective, that's a quiet space for group conversations. Music is the most powerful tool that I've found so far to transform a traditional business environment or an educational space into a place where people are creative and open and having deep conversations. Music can take a group of individuals and turn them into a collective really quickly. When we're in rhythm together, we can't be in conflict. Third ingredient, get curious. Ask fresh questions. I start off all of my workshops with the same question. What's one thing that you are celebrating in your life right now? A few months ago, I was on the East Coast, and I was working with a group of executives. Within the first 5 minutes, I asked this question, and one man stood up, and he shared with the group, I'm celebrating being alive. I've been fighting cancer for the last 5 years, but I made it. I never thought I would make it this far. He set the tone for the entire event. After that, people started sharing from their heart. I was in Guadalajara, Mexico, and I asked this same question. A young man stood up, and he yelled, I'm gonna be a dad! Everyone smiled, and the whole room erupted in cheers. This one question can bring humanity into a room. So, when we ask surprising questions, people surprise themselves with the responses that they give us, and relationships start to build. So let's try something. All of you were given a notepad and a colored pen when you walked into this room. So I'm going to ask you to take out that notepad now. And I'm going to invite our volunteers to come and join on the stage as well. So once you have that notepad, you are going to turn to someone who's nearby you and without words, acknowledge that this is going to be your partner. So you can give them a smile. You can just give them a little nod of your head. There might be a couple groups of 3, but this is a nonverbal exercise. So we're going to keep the quiet, please. All right, so now with your partner, you can set down one of these notepads. So you're going to be sharing just one, but open it up so you have a good amount of space. And we'll say the person who has the darker shirt or the darker colored clothing is going to start first. All right? So that first partner, you're just going to make a spontaneous drawing on this page right now. That's 5 to 10 seconds. Something straight off the top of your head, a doodle, a line, a shape. Go ahead and do that now. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It just needs to be fast. Okay. Once you've done that, your partner is going to look down at this drawing and imagine this is the beginning of a really exciting conversation that you've started with your partner. But this is a visual conversation instead of a verbal conversation. Your partner is now going to add a mark to this drawing and build off what they've already started. So you're creating a collaborative conversation here. So go ahead and do that now. And we'll kick off the soundtrack. And for the next minute, you're going to rotate back and forth about 10 seconds per person and continue to add on to this drawing, building off of each other and creating something new. And let's turn up the volume a little bit. So you're not crossing out their drawing, you're adding on to it, building off your partner. rolling with their ideas. And just another 10 seconds to do these last few marks. Beautiful. Last mark right now. Finishing touch. Amazing. And we can turn the music off. And so now, in this very short visual conversation that you had with your partner, I'm going to ask you to think about, what did this collaboration feel like? If you were to write down a word or a few words about the feeling between you and your partner, you're both going to write those down in real words on the page. Go ahead and do that now quickly. They could be words like chaotic, beautiful, playful. Great. And now you can thank your partner. You can give them a handshake, a high five, again, non-verbally. You can give them a fist bump and thank you. So what just happened? On one hand, we just did a very simple collaborative drawing exercise. But what was happening under the surface? Let's go back to the 3 ingredients. 1, harness the arts to unlock deeper connection. This was a very low stakes opportunity for you to play with art supplies. But there was a lot that was happening under the surface in this visual conversation. You had to let go of control as your partner was adding on to your marks. And you created something that neither one of you could have created by yourself. 2, use music with intention. The song that was playing, it influenced you. It influenced what you drew on the page, your relationship with your partner, and also how you felt. 3, get curious. Ask fresh questions. When I asked what the feeling was between your collaboration with your partner was like, that took this in a different direction. What started off as a playful exercise could become a provocative, exciting conversation where you learn new things about the other person. So play with these ingredients. Experiment with this recipe. At your next office meeting, try doing this drawing exercise to start things off. When you have your students are about to walk in the class, surprise them and play a really loud song. Take them off guard. When you're going to have a dinner party or a gathering with your family, develop a list of questions that you can pose to the group. People will soften. They will take risks. And you'll learn new things about them. So let's all bring more creativity and connection into the places that need it most. Thank you.